All right, so today we're going to dive into brain CA technologies.
Okay.
And
Sounds good.
I've been looking over all this stuff you sent me, and
Yeah.
it's really fascinating.
Yeah. It's
Their approach is just so different.
it is. It really is. And
Yeah.
what's interesting to me is they're not just trying to build like a faster computer,
Yeah.
They're going after something way more fundamental.
Yeah, like the learning process itself.
Exactly. Yeah. How does AI actually learn?
Yeah, you've got all these companies just throwing tons of computing power at AI,
Right.
just bigger and faster.
Yeah, just brute force it.
But brain CA seems to be saying, like, hold on a sec. What if we rethink the whole thing?
Yeah, like what if we looked at the process
Right.
from the ground up?
Yeah.
Def-
So for our listener who maybe isn't like super deep in the AI world,
Sure.
let's start with, who are these guys?
Well, BrainC Technologies is a startup
Okay.
based in Cincinnati,
Mm-hmm.
and it was founded just last year by Steve Brunker and Jerry Felix. Now, these guys aren't like some, kids fresh out of college.
Right.
Brunker's the CEO.
Okay.
Felix is their chief architect, and
Hmm.
both of them are veterans from Hewlett-Packard.
Oh, wow. So they've been around.
Oh, yeah, they've got a ton of experience.
Yeah, so experienced tech guys,
Mhm.
but they're tackling AI, which is like the hottest field right now.
Right, it's super competitive.
Yes, what's their big idea?
So they saw this huge problem with current AI.
Okay.
And it's not just about making AI smarter,
Right.
It's about energy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, AI right now is a total energy hog.
Yeah, I've heard about those like giant data centers
Sure, yeah.
that just suck up power like crazy.
Yeah, it's a huge problem.
So is that just the price we pay for like powerful AI?
Right. Well, Brain CA doesn't think so.
Okay.
They're looking at how the human brain is so powerful,
Mm-hmm.
but uses relatively little energy.
Right, because our brains are super efficient.
Exactly. And the key is that the brain doesn't waste energy moving data around constantly.
Yes.
It processes information where it's stored.
So that's what they're trying to replicate.
Yeah, that localized process. And
It's almost too simple.
simpler, maybe,
Okay,
but not simple.
gotcha.
They call their core innovation the estimator.
Okay.
And this is where things get really cool.
All right, I'm ready.
They figured out a way to do learning within the memory itself
Wow.
by pairing every bit of memory with a random bit.
Okay, wait, slow down.
Okay.
Random bits.
Yeah.
What do those have to do with anything?
Think of it this way.
Okay.
The random bit is like a tiny coin flip
Okay.
attached to each bit of information.
Mm-hmm.
And it's constantly flipping between 0 and 1.
Okay.
So instead of storing information as a fixed value,
Okay.
the estimator uses these random bits to store the probability of that information being true.
So it's like instead of saying this is definitely a cat,
Right.
the system says there's like an 80% chance this is a cat.
Exactly. And by updating those probabilities with new information,
Mm-hmm.
the system can learn without constantly moving data back and forth.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool.
They call this in-memory computing,
Okay.
and it has the potential to be way more energy efficient.
So they're using randomness to
Right.
create a kind of learning system,
Exactly.
but they're doing it all right in the memory,
Yeah,
cutting out all those data transfers.
which is where all the energy waste is.
That's brilliant.
It is.
Honestly.
But it gets even more interesting.
Really?
Yeah, they've also developed something called the Cincinnati algorithm,
Oh, yeah.
and this is where they really break away from traditional AI.
Okay. Lay it on me.
All right, so the Cincinnati algorithm, it gets rid of the need for what are called weights and biases,
Okay.
which are fundamental to how most AI systems learn.
Yeah.
And adjusting these weights and biases takes a lot of computing power,
Right.
but the Cincinnati algorithm just throws that whole concept out.
Hold on. How do they even do that?
Yeah.
Like, what do they use instead?
They use a much simpler system
Yeah.
of binary connections between what they call estimator modules.
Estimator modules.
Yeah, so it's like instead of this complex network of roads
Okay.
with varying traffic flow,
Mm-hmm.
they have a grid system
Okay.
where each intersection is either open or closed.
So it's just on or off.
Exactly.
So by simplifying the connections,
Right.
they've eliminated all those complex calculations,
Mhm.
which saves energy.
Yeah, they found a shortcut through all the math.
Yeah, like a cheat code.
Pretty much, that's awesome.
Yeah, and that's just the beginning.
Okay, so what else?
So they call their overall approach teleomorphic computing.
Teleo, what now?
Teleomorphic.
Okay, break that down for me.
Essentially, it means they're not trying to copy the structure of the brain exactly,
Okay.
but they are trying to achieve the same function
Okay.
in a much more efficient way.
Okay, so it's not about mimicking the how of the brain,
Right.
but the what it does.
So like instead of building a bird with flapping wings,
Yeah,
they built a plane.
that's a perfect analogy.
Okay, cool.
And the potential benefits of this approach are pretty amazing.
Okay, let's talk about those benefits.
Sure.
We've talked about the energy efficiency, but what else is there?
Yeah, so energy efficiency is huge,
Yeah.
especially with AI becoming more and more common.
Right.
But beyond that, there's scalability.
Okay.
So traditional AI systems can get really bogged down.
As they get larger.
Exactly.
Okay.
But Brain CA's approach is designed to scale smoothly.
So it's not just about using less energy.
Right.
It's about being able to handle much bigger problems without hitting a wall.
Exactly.
Is that because of the way they simplified the learning process?
Exactly.
Okay.
Remember how they got rid of all those complex weight and bias calculations?
Right.
That makes a huge difference when you're dealing with tons of data.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see.
Plus, their system is modular.
Okay.
So you can basically just keep adding more estimator modules.
Yeah. To handle more information.
Exactly.
Very cool. Okay, so energy efficiency, scalability.
Yeah.
And their website mentions adaptability
Oh, right. Yeah.
as a key benefit.
Yeah.
What does that mean, like, practically?
So it means their system isn't limited to just one type of data
Okay.
or one type of task. It can be used with images, text, sensor readings, pretty much anything.
Oh, wow.
And they can implement it in software or hardware, which is really unique.
Hardware?
Yeah.
Are they talking about building their own AI chips?
They are.
Whoa!
Yeah, they're working on a brain on a chip.
A brain on a chip.
Uh-huh.
Okay, now my brain is really trying to catch up here.
Okay.
So they've got this radical new approach.
Yeah.
That's more efficient,
Right.
more scalable, and incredibly adaptable.
It is.
But do we have any proof this actually works?
Whoa.
It all sounds a little sci-fi.
Yeah, it does sound futuristic, but
Yeah.
for starters, they have 2 U.S. patents for their technology.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And that's not something you get for just having a cool idea.
Right, patents are a good sign.
Definitely.
What about real-world testing? Have they actually built anything yet?
So right now, they're focused on building a software prototype
Okay.
to prove out their algorithms. And the next step after that is to develop that hardware chipset we talked about.
So they're taking it one step at a time,
Yeah,
making sure each piece works before they move on.
exactly.
But what's the ultimate goal?
They want to replace current AI technology entirely.
Whoa.
Yeah, they believe their system is so much more efficient and sustainable that it could be the foundation for a whole new era of AI.
Wow. That's a bold statement.
It is.
But it's also exciting to think about.
Yeah.
If they can pull this off, what kind of impact could it have on, the average person?
Right.
Why should our listener care about all this?
Well, imagine a world where AI is no longer limited to huge corporations
Okay.
with massive computing resources.
Yeah, because right now it kind of is.
It is.
Yeah.
Brain CA's technology could make AI accessible to everyone.
Yep.
Smaller companies, researchers, even individuals.
Wow. So democratizing AI in a way,
Exactly.
making it available to anyone with a good idea.
Yeah, anyone could develop and deploy AI solutions.
That's amazing. And think about the environmental impact, too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
If we could reduce the energy consumption of AI,
Right.
that's huge.
That would be a major win for sustainability.
Yeah, we hear so much about the environmental costs of computing.
Yeah, it's a big concern.
So a more energy efficient approach to AI could really make a difference.
Absolutely.
Okay. So beyond those big picture benefits,
Sure.
what about specific applications?
Mhm.
Where could we see this technology having a real-world impact in the near future?
Well, one area they're really excited about is personalized medicine.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, imagine wearable sensors that can monitor your health in real time,
Okay.
using AI to detect subtle changes that might indicate a problem.
So instead of waiting until you're really sick to see a doctor, you could have an AI system that's constantly learning about your body
Exactly.
and alerting you to potential issues early on.
That's the idea.
That's really cool.
And because Brain CA's system is so adaptable, it could be trained on huge amounts of medical data,
Okay.
allowing it to spot patterns and make predictions that humans might miss.
It's like having a personal AI doctor
It really is, yeah.
that knows you better than you know yourself.
And it's always learning.
That's amazing. What other applications are they looking at?
Let me see.
Their website mentions something about self-driving cars.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
yeah. They think their brain-on-a-chip technology could be a game changer for autonomous vehicles.
Okay.
Because right now, self-driving cars rely on complex and energy-hungry AI systems.
Right.
But Brain CA's approach could make it possible to have truly intelligent cars
Okay.
that are also incredibly efficient.
So these cars could learn and adapt
Yeah.
while using way less power.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm starting to get a sense of the scope of what they're trying to do here.
Yeah. It's not just about building a better AI system.
Mm-hmm.
It's about using that system to transform whole industries.
Right, and maybe even the way we live our lives.
Yeah, it's like they're saying, the way we've been doing AI all along is flawed.
Right,
Let's start over.
like a clean slate.
Yeah,
Exactly. And that kind of bold thinking is what drives progress.
absolutely. Whether or not Brain CA succeeds,
Right.
they're forcing the industry to rethink things.
Yeah, to challenge their assumption.
And that's a valuable contribution.
Absolutely.
So for our listener who's been following along with this deep dive,
Yeah.
what's the takeaway here?
Well, I think the key takeaway is that we're still in the very early stages of understanding the true potential of AI.
Oh, for sure.
Brain CA's approach is a reminder that there are many different paths to explore,
Right.
and the future of AI may look very different from what we imagine today.
It's like we're standing at the edge of a vast, uncharted territory.
I like that, yeah.
And Brain CA is one of the pioneers venturing into that unknown. They're definitely pushing the boundaries.
It's exciting.
It is.
It's a little bit scary.
Yeah, there's some uncertainty there.
And it's definitely something worth keeping an eye on.
Absolutely, I agree.
Well, on that note, I think we've reached the end of part 1 of our deep dive into Brain CA technologies.
Okay, great.
It's been a fascinating journey so far.
Yeah.
And I, for one, am eager to see what the future holds for this ambitious company.
As am I. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where they go from here.
All right, so we're going to take a quick break,
Okay,
and we'll be back in a moment to continue our deep dive.
sounds good. So where were we?
We were talking about some of the potential applications of Brain CA's technology.
Right, like personalized medicine.
Yeah, and self-driving cars.
Mm-hmm.
And it just seems like there's so much potential here.
Yeah, it's really exciting to think about.
But with all this talk about revolutionizing AI,
Yeah.
it's easy to get caught up in the hype. You know?
I know what you mean.
Are there any potential downsides or challenges that we should be aware of?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for one, they're small startup
Right.
going up against some of the biggest tech companies in the world.
Like Google and Microsoft?
Exactly. Those companies have massive resources.
Yeah, and infrastructure.
Yeah, that Brain CA can only dream of at this point.
So it's a classic David and Goliath scenario.
It really is.
But David had that slingshot.
Right.
What's Brain CA's slingshot in this fight?
They're innovation.
Okay.
They're not just trying to do what the big players are doing, but slightly better.
Mm-hmm.
They're offering a fundamentally different approach
Okay.
to AI, and that could be a huge advantage.
Okay, so innovation is their weapon.
Yeah, you could say that.
But what about adoption?
Right.
Even if their technology is superior,
Yeah.
how do they get people to actually use it?
That's the big question for any startup.
Right.
They need to convince developers and companies
Mm-hmm.
that their system is worth investing in.
In terms of time and money.
Exactly. It's a risk.
Yeah. And there's always the chance that their technology could be leapfrogged.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like someone else.
Someone could come along with something even better.
Right. Or that unforeseen challenges could arise.
Right.
As they try to scale up.
There are always unknowns.
True. And you mentioned earlier that they're still working on a prototype.
Yeah, they're still in the early stages.
So there's a lot of work to be done
Oh, yeah.
before they can even think about widespread adoption.
For sure.
But the fact that they've secured funding
Right.
and partnerships
Mm-hmm.
suggests that there's real belief in their potential.
Yeah. People are taking them seriously.
And it's not just about creating a slightly better AI system.
Right.
It's about creating a whole new paradigm.
Exactly. They're thinking big.
It's like they're saying, the way we've been doing AI all along is fundamentally flawed.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start over.
It's a bold vision.
And that kind of bold thinking is what drives real progress.
I agree. They're pushing the boundaries.
So for our listener, who's been following along with this deep dive?
Right.
What's the takeaway here?
Well, I think the main takeaway is that we're still just scratching the surface of AI.
Yeah, we're just getting started.
Right. Brain CA's approach is a reminder that there are many different ways to approach AI. And the future might look very different from what we imagine today.
For sure. It's like we're standing at the edge of this vast, uncharted territory.
Yeah, a whole new world.
And BrainCA is one of the pioneers venturing into that unknown.
They're leading the way.
It's exciting. It's a little bit scary.
Yeah, there's definitely some risk involved.
And it's something worth keeping an eye on.
Absolutely. I think BrainCA is a company to watch.
I agree. So what else have you got for me?
Well, they've recently presented their research
Oh, really?
at the ISCA conference.
And that's a big deal, right?
Yeah, it's one of the most prestigious conferences in the field.
Wow, so they're getting recognition from the academic community.
Yeah, and they've also secured $2.2 million in seed funding. Yeah, so they've got some serious financial backing.
But still things are looking pretty good for them.
Yeah, they seem to be on the right track.
And there's this other thing that I found really interesting.
Okay, what's that?
So Microsoft
Yeah,
recently published some research on something called BitNet.
I saw that.
And it basically validates BrainCA's approach.
Oh, wow. How so?
Well, BitNet uses these very simple representations for AI,
Okay.
kind of like what BrainCA is doing.
Interesting.
And Microsoft is getting some really impressive results with it.
So it's like independent confirmation that this approach could work?
Exactly. It's like having one of the biggest tech companies in the world
Right.
saying, hey, you guys are onto something here.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's a big vote of confidence.
It is.
So I think it's safe to say that BrainCA is a company to watch.
I agree. They have a lot of potential.
They've got the technology, they've got the team,
Yeah.
and they're starting to get some real traction.
It's an exciting time for them.
And if they can achieve their goals,
It could really change the world.
it could change everything.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here,
We have.
but I think there's one more thing we need to talk about.
Okay, what's that?
The elephant in the room.
Okay.
The fact that they call their algorithm the Cincinnati algorithm?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, come on.
I know, right?
Cincinnati?
It's not exactly known as a tech hub.
Right. It's more like chili and baseball.
Exactly. But, hey, maybe they're trying to put Cincinnati on the map.
Maybe they're starting a new trend?
The next Silicon Valley.
Cincinnati.
Oh, no.
Stranger things have happened.
That's for sure.
So what do you think?
I think it's a great story.
It is.
You've got these two experienced tech guys
Mm-hmm.
from a non-traditional tech city.
Right? Who are challenging the status quo.
Yeah, they're not afraid to think differently.
And they just might change the world.
They just might.
So for our listener,
Yeah.
what's the one thing you want them to take away from all of this? Well, I think the one thing I'd want them to remember is that BrainCA's success isn't guaranteed.
Right. It's still early days.
Exactly. They've got a lot of challenges ahead of them.
Like what are some of the biggest hurdles they're facing?
Well, like we talked about, they're going up against some really big companies.
Yeah, the giants of the tech world.
Exactly. And those companies have a lot of advantages.
Right, like resources and brand recognition.
Exactly. And they've also got a lot of inertia, you know.
Mm-hmm. It's hard to turn a big ship around.
It is, yeah. So BrainCA needs to be really nimble.
And innovative.
Yeah, they need to stay ahead of the curve
And they need to be able to adapt.
to changing market conditions.
Right. Because the AI landscape is constantly evolving.
It is, yeah. It's a fast-moving field.
So what do you think?
I think they've got a shot.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I think their technology is really promising, and they've got a strong team.
Yeah, they seem like they know what they're doing.
They do, and they're also in the right place at the right time.
What do you mean?
Well, there's a lot of interest in AI right now.
Yeah, it's a hot topic.
It is, and there's also a lot of concern about the energy consumption of AI.
Right, we talked about that.
Yeah, so BrainCA's focus on efficiency could be a real differentiator.
So they're offering a solution to a real problem.
Exactly, and that's a good place to be.
But even if they have all the right pieces in place, there's still no guarantee of success.
That's true. There's always an element of luck involved.
And timing.
Yeah, and sometimes it just comes down to being in the right place at the right time.
Well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to follow their journey.
Absolutely. And for our listener, I think the biggest takeaway from all of this is that the future of AI is wide open.
Yeah, there's so much potential.
And we're just starting to explore what's possible.
It's an exciting time to be alive.
It is. And who knows, maybe BrainCA will be the company that leads us into this new era of AI.
It could happen.
Well, on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive into BrainCA technologies.
That was fun.
Yeah, it's always fascinating to learn about these cutting-edge companies.
Yeah, and to think about the possibilities.
So for our listener, thank you for joining us on this journey.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
And we'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.
See ya.